Chief Justice David Maraga. Will be playing one of the clips that we have of him shortly. But on page 8 of the Daily Nation, you will see the detailed coverage of what he feels. He comes out swinging alleges plot to kick him out and vows not to allow a few people to cripple the judiciary. And I want to begin with you, Honorable Rosa Boyo. When you look at the Chief Justice speaking the way he did, we'll be sure to look at what he said. But when you look at his comments, how long has this been brewing? Because there are those who say that this is coming to effect of we shall revisit statement that was issued after the nullification of the presidential election of August 8, 2017. For how long has this been going on? And has he just been keeping quiet, making all of us think that everything is fine? Or is it a scheme that has been going on?
I think in hindsight, that was a very unfortunate statement that was made at that particular time. And the fact that it was made by the head of state, it was very unfortunate. And Justice Maraga strikes me as a very patient man. He's highly religious and he's highly patient. And when I watched him talk the way he spoke last night on our televisions, I felt like there's something wrong and we really need to pay attention to what he's talking about. But having said that, if there is a cash crunch or there's an issue with the economy of our country, each and every aspect of this country has to take a cut or has to take a hit.
Right.
But I also know that the one thing that binds all Kenyans, whether rich or poor, whether learned or not learned, is our justice system, because we are all equal under our law. So that is where every Kenyan gets equal justice. So I think even as we are faced with this sort of the cuts, we also must see where to press harder and where we can be a little more lenient, given that it is services that affects the core of our society.
Right.
So I was sympathetic to him, but I also just thought that even if he was so angry, he should have chosen another way or another channel to do this, because we look up to him for the justice of our country, and even the poor look up to him. And when you see him looking devastated and giving up, then all of us and everybody else feels like everything is hopeless and they do not have hope.
All right, he makes us feel like we don't have hope. But let's listen to what he had to say as far as what he's alleging the executive wants to make the judiciary its puppet.
Why are they interested and interfering with our affairs? You want me to tell you why? They want to control the judiciary. They want to control the judiciary. They want to make the judiciary a puppet. The judiciary has been treated and continues to be treated contemptuously. The CJ has no Mercedes car. When we applied, we were told, look, keep to the what? We don't want wastage, keep to the minimum of 2,500 cc. It is wastage to buy a CJ, a Mercedes 500, but it is not a wastage to buy the 2 speakers of the National Assembly, Mercedes 500.
Is it about Mercedes?
Okay, you are not very happy. What is it?
I'm not. You know, I'm surprised to see the president of the court and Supreme Court, you know, coming out really talking about a Mercedes-Benz. You know, it's not about Mercedes-Benz, it's about service delivery. And he's saying they want to control us. Who really want to control him? You know, this budget cut is everywhere. I sit in the budget committee. It's not about judiciary being targeted, it's everywhere. You know how our economy is performing right now. That's why we're even having the regulation to allow this country to borrow 9 trillion. Why are we having that? It's already, we want to retire all the loans that we have. Right now, this country, you know the situation we are in. It's not about judiciary being targeted. And after all, the judiciary they should really tell us, you know, how have they been tackling the issues of corruption? People have been taken to court, they're the ones releasing them, you know.
But even then, okay, before you go, Zinzi, even as you talk about the judiciary has not been jailing, you know how the justice system works, obviously. It has to take the side of the prosecution, the defense, for that to be done, for the judges just to listen to the evidence adduced before them, or the magistrate. Then, as you say that the judiciary is not being targeted, you're talking about a budget of 18.5 or thereabout billion shillings that has now been cut by 2.9 billion shillings. They had requested for more than 30 billion shillings. I mean, you don't see anything peculiar in all this rationalization by the National Treasury and the National Assembly?
No, there's nothing. I remember when they came before us, they are even having issues of stalled projects, misplaced priorities. You know, you have to also look at the priorities then.
Which ministry doesn't have its priorities misplaced?
It is everywhere. That's why I'm saying the cut is everywhere. There is austerity measures everywhere. Even Parliament, there is a cut. It is everywhere. So it's not about him coming out really to come and complain and divert the attention of the country and create unnecessary, you know, fight between the executive and the judiciary. He should be the one, you know, convincing, you know, Parliament or even Treasury. It's not about being targeted really.
And Honorable, you're right. Fine, there could be a budget
and it's
cut.
not about Mercedes-Benz really and 500cc or
no, we'll come to that in a bit.
But I believe what he's talking about with the Mercedes-Benz, and I'm not his advocate or representing his views here, and I want to toss it to you. I don't think he's talking about the beauty of a Mercedes. He's just talking about how the different heads of the arms of government are being treated. Is it fair from how it appears, former commissioner?
Well, for me, what the CJ was airing about complaining about frustrations with the judiciary, I think Mheshimiwa is also right to say that in the country is facing some serious economic turbulence. And in that regard, everybody must get a cut of the budget. But more importantly, what I saw from him is that he was saying that the courts will not function. Again, that's very alarming, and it's not good for the country. First of all, there is no threat that judges are not being paid their salary, so they should be working. Even if there are constraints in budget, judges should be working to deliver justice to Kenyans. And the Chief Justice must understand that we are working in an environment which is constrained. Right now, even Mama Mboga is in problems. You have seen in this paper today, I don't know which paper, that every Kenyan owes, where did I see that? Every Kenyan owes, I think, over 100,000 shillings, whether through Fuliza, through whatever, but we are in hard economic times, right, the rich and the poor. So I think it's unfortunate statement being made at this particular time.
Honorable Rigathi, it's true what the woman rep is saying, but at the end of the day, for the budget to be slashed from the requested that 1 billion that judiciary wanted, Parliament came in, slashed it to about 14.5 billion. Then Treasury came in and slashed that rate again to about 11. So you have about a big chunk missing from what they had originally requested for. But Treasury says that the reason why they've cut it from 31 billion all the way to 11 billion is to fund President Kenyatta's Big Four agenda. Is that fair that one arm of government has to suffer in order for us to fund President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda?
I don't think it's one arm of government that is suffering. I think this thing is cutting across board. And it's only maybe others are not speaking. We also have road programs that have suffered budget cuts. And we are not complaining. Because really, if everybody was to take to the press to say what we are undergoing in terms of austerity measures, there will be hue and cry across the country. I want to disagree that there is interference with the judiciary because of revisiting. I think that revisiting was taken out of context. What President Kenyatta then meant was revisiting politically, and we did revisit politically. And the matter was settled. Yeah, the matter was settled. It was, what he meant is that we will revisit.
I wish you had that clip so that you play and you see the anger in his eyes, and then you tell me that it was just political.
No. The man was angry, and I want to tell Chief Justice to relax. I don't think the executive will muzzle him because President Kenyatta accepted the decision of the Supreme Court, throwing out his election when he had been elected above board. You know, I mean, what other measure of obeying the rule of law and constitutionalism can you attribute to this government? I think this is a government that didn't respect the rule of law, and I think the Chief Justice, the way Madam has said here, should have looked for a way of engaging the executive in a quiet manner. He is part of government, by the way. Let him not speak like he's out there. Okay. You know, even people who are out there who are in opposition or in government, he's also part of government. Let him engage the other levels of government in a quiet manner. Let him not alarm the country, because if he sounds helpless, you see, the judiciary is the cause of last resort. When people are stuck in all areas, they run to the court.
Honorable Rigathi, you could be mentioning that it's him running helpless, but according to what Honorable Rosa said, this is a man who is well known for being patient and religious. For him to stand up in front of the nation and say this, he's a frustrated Chief Justice.
We are also very patient and religious. We don't talk about it. Everybody is patient. You know, it depends on the level of patience. Some of the things we undergo ourselves, we are just quiet. And what we do, we engage government quietly, because he's part of government. Let him not speak like an outsider.
Do you genuinely believe that the Chief Justice is frustrated? That put aside the Mercedes issue.
I don't think myself that if the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya sought an appointment with President Uhuru Kenyatta to sit down and vent his issues, the President will decline. I don't think so.
Before you go, Honorable Rose, I want us to listen to what the Chief Justice had to say in as far as Aden Duale's statement in as far as the budget cuts are concerned. Several MPs have been saying that the judiciary is playing politics, sometimes being dramatic in demanding or in saying that they are going to suspend court sessions. But let's listen to what he had to say exactly about Duale's statement.
In his statement, Honorable Duale, I was surprised, is reported to have said that the judiciary budget has not been cut and that we are playing politics. I find that interesting. The judiciary doesn't play politics. And worst of all, we could not start playing that game on a serious issue like this one. The truth of the matter is that the judiciary budget has been reduced drastically, and we have serious challenges.
So the workings of Parliament, as we take a break, Honourable Rosa, the working of Parliament, that the budget estimates will be presented from every department, and then the department to present itself before its relevant committee. Then that conversation continues at that time that eventually you announce this is the budget statement for the country. I mean, why is it not possible for the Chief Justice and the judiciary to iron out all the issues they have with budget and get the best cut that is negotiated with the National Assembly?
First of all, can I take you a little back? This is a very simple man. This Chief Justice is a very, very simple man. We've seen him riding in his car with his wife without too much flair. And so when he's talking about that Mercedes, he's not craving for that Mercedes per se. He's just trying to find a place for the judiciary within the protocols of this country. So it is not that he wants to have a Mercedes because so-and-so has a Mercedes. I think he's not going by what he's shown us. He's not one to care about whether he has a Mercedes or not. So that was just a figure of speech, and he's trying to show that the judiciary is being treated with some sort of disdain in terms of the protocols of the country. Now, why he seems to be taking this up, the way he's taking it up, I think it's because this seems to be coming from Treasury, and it seems like Treasury is the one that's making these cuts. Yet we know that the eventual rubber stamp will come from Parliament. Okay? So they will come to defend themselves, and whether the amount that will be cut from each arm will come from Parliament. But now, like he was saying, and they've been saying back and forth, that the judiciary seems to be the one taking, not the judiciary, sorry, the Treasury seems to be the one taking the lead in this. And so he's responding to that lead that the Treasury is taking. But we know that in terms of the law and the Constitution, it is Parliament that will have the final say on how the supplementary budget or allocation and appropriation of the budget goes in the supplementary. So these are lawyers, and of course he knows the law better than us. But here he is also caught up in that war of wrong actions from the wrong departments.
Wrong actions from the wrong departments. You know what, to take a short break, but when we return, we'll be continuing the conversation in as far as the Chief Justice's comments yesterday that would appear of a man who is under siege, and of course it feels that the judiciary is threatened, but he's vowing that that will not succeed during his tenure. So we take a short break. We can take us your views on 2242, tweet us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Sam Gituku, at Zenzi_K. The hashtag to use is the break. We're back in a moment.